Welcome to the Tailslate. I'm Ben Stacy, and I am here with Dennis Umpleby and Michael Oakes, and we are at the Strange and Astounding show right now, and it's a really cool show. Lots of really cool and strange and astounding stuff here. Anyway, we have all recently seen
Doctor
the newest
Strange.
Marvel movie, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Yes, so we figured we'd talk a little bit about Doctor Strange, what our thoughts were. So let's start with you, Dennis. What did you think?
I liked it. Yeah. It's funny. After it came out, the feedback that I've heard from a lot of people is that it seems to happen a lot anytime like a new Marvel movie comes out, where everybody kind of there's like the weight of like another Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And so that immediately puts baggage on the film's shoulders. But I don't know. All in all, I really dug it. I liked its approach to magic, and I like that it kind of opened this new aspect of the universe. I really like Benedict Cumberbatch in the role.
Yes.
And despite like Marvel still hasn't fixed their villain problem, but I did like Mads Mikkelsen's a lot. Like anytime he's in a role, it's always fantastic. I dug it all around, and I actually think what's cool, and ironically being at a horror convention, it's kind of appropriate, is that of all the franchises that Marvel has kind of started up,
Yep.
it feels like this one is the best one that they can kind of take a horror route in the future with.
Good, yeah.
Which actually the director has talked about his ideas for the sequel and the fact that he kind of wants to explore the nightmare realm.
Right.
So that might be a cool route to go in the future.
Dark Dimension or the Nightmare?
I believe it was the Nightmare Realm,
Okay.
because I think one of the villains I think originally they actually had the idea that one of the villains would be Nightmare or something like that, who was a character from the comics.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a distinct possibility. But yeah, I liked it all around.
Awesome. What did you think in
I thought
general?
it was amazing. Like he said, I like their approach to the magic part. I like the fact that they made the rules about it, because, if you don't have rules for magic, they can do anything they like, right?
Yeah, you've got to have rules for whatever you make up. Yeah.
And I really like how they kind of explained it as like a science instead of just straight up magic. They're doing the same thing as what Thor did with the whole science and magic are one and the same. And even the directors actually said that Doctor Strange doesn't actually understand as much about what he's doing as he needs to.
He's just doing it.
He's just doing it because
Yeah.
he's practicing it, and the same thing as
Yeah.
he does in science, and he's just doing it because the practice lets him do it,
Yeah.
even though he doesn't
like
understand
experimenting.
it's like cause and effect sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Which I liked. The visuals were absolutely amazing. Dormammu was a great villain. And I think we got a little bit of a teaser. I don't know if a lot of people saw it at the very end, but when the villain...
Everybody would be to the very end. With a Marvel movie, you have
Some
to
people
stay
do
to the
miss
end.
it. I will say, I've heard
there
people
was
that
like an
miss it.
Easter egg thing at the end of the movie, not like before the credits, in the actual
okay.
movie. Dormammu usually uses these soldiers that are they're called the mindless ones, I think they're called.
Okay.
And they're supposed to be like these gray husks of like a body, like essentially they're just big hulking things with like barely a head and just like one or two eyes on them, but they're just like red.
Yeah.
And at the very end of the movie, you saw the two like villains
Yeah,
flying
they
off,
turned into
and they
that.
started turning gray and stuff
Oh,
like that.
okay,
That's
cool.
what they were turning. I think that's what they were turning into, which was
very
great.
cool.
So we might see them in the future.
Cool. Yeah, I liked it as well. I didn't know too much about Doctor Strange other than seeing one of the animated versions that they had done. So I'm glad I actually saw that, so I understood a little bit about him before seeing the movie. But yeah, it was visually amazing. And the story was actually fairly tight, which was good. The actor, obviously Benedict Cumberbatch, is great for that role, and I found he had more gravitas than some other actors that may be in similar roles. So it was good to have that in there as well, and that helps with a role that could be considered silly. You need to have a good, strong actor involved. So yeah.
I do remember people like comparing him to Tony Stark because they have similar traits.
Yeah, we were
Yes.
talking
Like
about
being
that earlier.
arrogant, but I think one thing that like not only does Benedict bring something different to the role, so it does come off very differently, but he comes off as more of a jerk than Tony Stark ever did, because
Yeah.
Tony Stark kind of feels like the guy, like he's kind of douchey, but he's kind of the guy you'd want to hang out with at a club. But Doctor Strange is kind of like a really like single-minded, like really, like he can be a huge jerk. Then there's that one scene where I was actually really surprised that he was so mean to Rachel McAdams' character.
Yeah.
You should check out this video done by Jenny Nicholson on YouTube, which talks about it's brilliantly funny. She's incredible, but talks about how this is a character archetype, very similar to Tony Stark, very similar to Thor, very similar. They're all similar. And what's going to happen when they get together? All these guys are the same. And it's really good. So watch that video. We're about to have another panel go on here, so we're going to have to wrap up our video. But any last thoughts on Doctor Strange?
Yes, I am really looking forward to what they're going to be doing in the future. Both worried and excited because they've kind of hinted at there being consequences to magic, and that's what I'm looking forward to most. Because according to there's some stuff in the comics, in particular ones where there's actually people who are worshiping Doctor Strange and taking the consequences of magic for him, which are like horrible body mutations.
Oh wow!
So if we see something like that in the future, especially with the new villain that they revealed at the end of it, that'll be really cool, and I'm really excited to see the next one for that.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about what this means in the larger Marvel universe, because one thing that leading up to this movie is that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if anybody's been keeping up with that, they've actually been doing Ghost Rider on the show.
Right, yes.
And so the possibility that this can then lead into their more supernatural characters, like having Blade show up in the Marvel universe would be awesome, and all these great characters that they have, that'd be really exciting to see.
Cool. Yeah, I'm enjoying the character. I'm looking forward to seeing him do more. Obviously, his green, the eye of, what's it called? The eye of
Agamotto.
That's obviously an Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
So
they just straight up said it in the freaking
they
movie.
Did, they did. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Anyway, problem with doing a live panel is we've got to stop when they do the other live panel. So we are gonna end it there. And see you later.